Okay, welcome, my people. Good evening to you all. I hope that you all had yourselves a good week and that you're looking forward for a wonderful weekend coming up. My name is Michael Stewart. I'm the host of this great program called Mike at Night. Mike at Night. Yep, we've been running for the year. Last week, I was off. I was in the lovely um, island of St. Vincent. It was a wonderful time that we had there. And I really want to thank the people there in St. Vincent for their hospitality and their graciousness. Let me say that the day is the last, as you know, for this year. Not the last, but the last for this year, God willing. And then we'll be back up next month in January. Hopefully, the first Thursday in January. Next week, I will be in St. Kitts Nevis. And so it doesn't make sense that I run it on longer, seeing that I would have another hiatus coming up. But hey, we're looking forward to having a wonderful time with you all as we continue. Okay. So let me say good evening, Joanna Benjamin. Hey, you're logging nice and early. Wonderful. I want to see all of you all rock and come in. This is going to be a wonderful session, and I hope that you gain some stuff out of today's session. Every time we come here, we really try as much as possible for you to be beneficiaries of the teachings that we share. All right, so it's nice to have you all on board. Today we're talking about the top 10 causes of relationship problems. And I want you to see if you find yours inside of there, because you must have one of them inside of there. Top 10. And this is really coming from research from a counseling psychologist who's reputed to know their stuff. And so I want you to be able to get a chance to be able to get the benefit of that as we go forward. Okay? Top 10 causes of relationship problems. If you wish to call in, you may call in. You can call us at 868-688-5363. The number is on the line. You're going to see it coming up at the bottom as it scrolls across. You can WhatsApp if you wish, or you can just call in and let's put you on and let's hear what you think about this evening. Kevin Frederick, good evening. Nice having you, my boy. Haven't seen or heard you for a while. Good evening to Lyndon Joefield. Nice. All of you all, good to have you. Angel Golden Wilson. Nice. Joanna Jack. St. Vincent, nicely to have St. Vincent in the house. That is my next home. After St. Lucia, St. Vincent, and where else? Well, I know where else, but those two places. All right. Yeah, I'm just waiting for some more people to join so that we could go in so that we don't have to go over. What I am going to do is put up the points on the screen. So this time, those who come late will be able to catch up on what the topics, the ones that we've dealt with so far, and be able to know what number that we are on, because we are doing with 10 top issues. Let me tell you, relationships. People are bright in their jobs, they are bright in their academics, they are bright as business people. But when it comes to relationships, we fail miserably. The number of relationships that failing, alarming. It shows that we do not take time to know each other. And one of the things that we find is that we keep blaming the other side why this is happening. Few people looking inwardly and say, have I done some things? Have I developed myself? Am I to the standard that I should be at in order to be able to engage in a successful, fruitful relationship? I tell you, when you sit down with most people, they are preoccupied with telling you what is wrong with the other person. No wonder it is not going to work. It's not going to work like that. It is never going to work like that, no matter how much we do it. I've never seen somebody say, boy, listen, I get so much bashing from my partner about how bad I am as a relationship. And look, my goodness, I am glad that they bash me so much. I feel so energized. And no, nobody says that. Nobody. Everybody is demotivated and lashed back in that sort of situation. So we want to help you tonight, and we're going to be bringing some help for you this evening. All right. Joanna Peters, St. Vincent again. Lovely, lovely lady, Joanna Peters. Nice, nice. So we have all the Joannas on board tonight. Candice Alexander. Davika. Nice. All the rock can come in. Rock can come in. Even if you have the arthritis, you rock your way and you come inside of it. All right. Okay, then. Let me see how we could navigate this now. And all right. So let me see who's in. Sandra Lam, good evening. Nice having you. Joanna, Josiane, Bella, St. Lucia. I tell all I have St. Lucia in the house, you know, right? St. Lucia in my next home too. Alicia Devines. All right, so we have much to cover. So let's hit the ground running. Lyndon say you win plenty people this evening. Yeah, because you're normally late. So nice having you, Lyndon. Early for once. All right. So I'm really going to be doing from Anushta Mishra, counseling psychologist. She wrote an article in September 12, 2023. This is current. This is recent, September 12, 2023. And it was updated December 7th. That is this week. Today, the 14th. But I felt it was a very, very telling article that was written. 10 top causes of relationship problems. Yes. Sharon. Sharon, I miss you. I miss you. I mean, you'll be miserable, you know, but I still miss you. I would admit that. Yeah. We didn't see you last week for some reason. No, not last week, the week before that. 10 top reasons for problems in the relationship, and see if you could identify yourself. And if you identify yourself, indicate on the chat. Say that's me. Or that's the relationship. Or let's look inward. Don't say that this is the next person. See if you could find yourself inside of this. Number one, which is critical because we keep hearing people talk about this, poor communication. Poor communication. You see, because when it comes to relationship, communication is important. The communication system, if communication breaks down, all fall down. And what this lady is saying, relationship grows when partners communicate effectively. And I want to take my time with that, because effective communication is learning to listen to the other side and not waiting till they finish because you have all of this that you were banking up to tell them. Half the time, we don't hear what the other person is saying. We are waiting for them to finish. We have already our arsenal waiting on them. Not only that, but you'll find that there are times while the person is speaking, we pick up on one word that we did not agree with, and we are waiting to correct that one word. We are waiting to challenge that one word. And sometimes the word itself has no bearing, no fundamental essence of the discussion. So if we are talking and we are discussing this thing, and I'm trying to tell you about an incident that took place with me and my wife, right? And it is the incident that is the crucial thing of how we got into an altercation last week. And I may say, last week, Monday, when I came home, my wife jostled me at the door. Now, if my wife used the Monday as the basis of the argument, no, it wasn't Monday. No, it wasn't Monday. It was Tuesday. Because Monday, you didn't go to work. You stayed home all day. So it's Tuesday. Oh, heavens, man. Do we need to correct that? And that's the problem with communication, that we just pick and nitpick on some simple things that have nothing to do with the very empirical evidence or information that is coming forward to deal with the matter at hand. And that is what it breaks down the communication, because we're looking for every little thing to correct. The whole sentence does not have to be correct. Even what the person says, even though they said something wrong, they made an inappropriate way that they said it, the attitude was wrong with it, leave that for now. Choose the hill you will die on. Do not die on every hill. As a partner used to say, gringo, don't die on every hill. Choose the hill you will die on. Choose your hill. Don't fight every war. Don't catch every ball that is thrown at you. Don't be a dog that barks at every car that passes. Choo. Okay, you all get me? Nice. If we get that, then we get point number one. Said that some of the most common consequences of poor communication are misunderstanding and unrealistic expectations. So I have to say it the way how you want to hear it. The person has to couch the words in a way that I appreciate. And they say when partners are not on the same page and they struggle to express themselves clearly or fail to listen attentively, listening attentively is part of good communication. And you are not listening to hear the error. You are not listening just for listening's sake. You are listening to understand what the person is saying. So the person may make a statement. My wife, your wife may make a statement. We don't go anywhere anymore. Oh yes, you may have taken the person out last week for a drive. So when we start to argue now, but then I take you out for a drive last week, the essence of what your wife was saying was not that there was no time at all that we go. Even though the words may come out so, try to understand. All follow me now. Don't get distracted now with your TV and the ways to wash and so on. Listen to me. Even if they said we don't go anywhere, those are the practical and dictionary definition words being used. But what your wife is saying, my good man, is we used to go out more. We no longer go out as often as we used to. The decline is so steep that we hardly go out anymore. Forget the literal words and let's deal with what she's trying to say. All you follow me? All you get me, my people? All you understand me? Right. So that is one, poor communication. And he said one of in this issue of poor communication, let's talk about how do we solve this bothersome situation of poor communication. How do we solve it? How do we resolve it? Josanne, yes, we must read between the lines. One of the things that we as men say, we don't want to read between the lines, but if you're talking with a woman, you have to. Yes, sir. Kevin, yes, we must stick to the issue. Sheila, nice. Sheila said she learned this from me years ago in communication. Right. So communication is the key. And we must appreciate that. What I want to do is to give you help to be able to understand some of the things that we need to do to make this happen also. All right? So I don't want to just raise issues today. I want to raise issues and bring solutions. Apparently we're having some internet problem because I'm seeing some freezing taking place. Right. I might be off here. Okay. Apparently we're having some little internet problems now. So if you're having trouble hearing me, please indicate so that we would, I'll try and make sure that you get. All right. Solutions, because I don't want you to miss the solutions. Here's what the solution is. One of the solutions is to set aside dedicated talk time. set aside dedicated talk time. This talk time is for you all to be able to converse, to connect with each other. But this has to be scheduled. You can't just hope that by happenstance, you all get a chance to talk. I don't know if I'm going to be busy this weekend to be able to sit down here, but if we get time, we'll sit down and we'll talk about some things. No, you have to make the time. So set aside to talk time for open discussion. Number 2, embrace active listening. Try and listen now and try to feel the person, right? And avoid interruptions. Put away your cell phone, mister. Put away your, make sure that people who come in to visit you, you tell, you close your door, pull your curtain, behave as though you're not home. Make this time special, right? Sheila, if your partner doesn't want to make time, that's unfortunate. And I'm hoping that the partners will be on listening and say the only way to get some reprieve is to get you and your partner to sit down and talk things out, communicate. Sweeping it under the carpet, delaying it, hoping that it will go away. It will not go away. All it does, it goes into the recycle bin. It is coming up wrong back to you again very soon. And when you're in the communication mode, we're talking about communication still, we're still on point number 1. In the communication mode, it is important for you to remember to avoid jumping to conclusions. Do not jump to conclusions. That is a problem that we have whenever we assume what the person is going to say before they say it. There's a Bible verse that said, he that answereth a matter before he hears it is a fool. That's what the Bible says. I didn't like the way the Bible said, but it said it. If you're going to answer it and you have not heard the matter yet, you're a fool. That's what he says. So don't jump to conclusion. Listen to the person out, and if you're not sure what they meant, ask them for clarification. Now, I might not get through everything tonight on time for the 9 o'clock. So if we run slightly late, would you all forgive me and hang on for the rest? It's the last episode, and I want to make sure I finish this one. All right? So if possible, I give you another one. So 1 is make time for small talk. Embrace the listening. 3, don't jump to conclusions and seek clarification. 4, put humor in it if possible. Don't be so stiff, rigid, stuck up. Allow humor to flow in the relationship and in the discussion and so on. Keep it light. Keep it light. Let it be a safe space. Let the person feel free to say their mind without you saying, what do you mean? I don't agree with that. Why you say that? You know, just let it flow. Just let it flow. Oh, I didn't know that is how you felt. I want to hear more about that. I didn't know that when I said that the other day, you felt hurt about it. Explain to me. Because I would really, it was never my intention, and I would like to tell you one time that if that is how you got it, that I really apologize for that. But now that you brought it to my attention, it may have been inappropriate for me to say, talk. Hello? You see? So, according to the psychology, the longer a couple goes without trying to improve communication between them, the worse the relationship gets. You think if you stop talking, the relationship doesn't have to go into crisis. It is deteriorating from underneath. It is like a sinkhole where you're walking and driving on a road, paved road on top, but the bottom of the road is eating out. Sooner or later, the weight of the car, the weight of the relationship is going to crash through, and you are going to be left without a foundation below you. The relationship ends, and it ends so badly that you and I will be ashamed that when you look at what you all started with and what we started with, this love and affection and marriage and all of that money we spend, look where we land up now. Only because we're not taking the time to be in a state of good communication. Does that make sense? No, it doesn't. So poor communication is one. Let's go to the second one. Trust. You see it written on top of there? So follow it now. You all can't tell me, you all can't remember it now. I'm putting it out there for you all. Trust issues. This issue of trust means that trust, what it creates this sense of doubt when there's lack of trust, right? The lack of trust creates doubt and suspicion. And I want to read a 2020 study that said lack of trust significantly predicts issues within romantic relationships. You can tell the kind of problem that would come up in a relationship once trust is missing. And you could tell they can predict the end of relationships when they realize the trust issues are not being addressed. Yeah? This is my explanation. My explanation for trust is, and my understanding is this. Trust is like virginity. Once you lose it, it's gone. You can't unvirgin yourself. It's gone. This is why try not to break trust. Because once trust is gone, you'll never get it back at its original form. Does that mean that the relationship cannot work? No, I'm not saying so. The relationship can work. But the fighting to get back this trust, there are things that the person who breached the trust must now do to earn the respect, earn back some measure and decorum of trust in the relationship. Yes? So you have to explain yourself some more, and don't think that you don't have to explain because that was past and so on. You have to explain. If a man was unfaithful to his wife and she becomes suspicious, and if she finds him now that it was true, he was unfaithful, there are things he has to explain. Who is that woman in the front seat of your car? Before, you would not have to explain that, but trust is not at its original level. So you've got to know, don't wait for questions to come. Surrender the information. If the man doesn't trust you, your husband, your boyfriend, be clear and upfront with when you're dealing with him. How come is now you're coming home? Don't wait for him to ask you that. Explain to him that it was raining and taxi was hard to get, and you end up having to wait on the stand longer than normal, and then just say something. You understand me, people? This is not no rocket science, you know. All it needs is people willing to invest enough into the relationship and value the relationship enough to want it to work. So therefore, trust is the key. And they said that the research emphasized the influence of trust deficits on the emergence of problems within these partnerships. What all it is saying is that once trust is missing, you can tell the kind of relationships that are going to emerge of it. For example, if you don't trust your spouse, you will become suspicious about a number of things that are taking place in the relationship, especially if the trust was broken by them and they found out the issue without you telling them. Here's how it is. If they had to find out, the person who found out will question, what else did I miss? Follow me. This is normal survival brain. They will want to know, what else is he not telling me? What else did she not say? That is what is going to happen. So you could tell the number of problems that would emerge. That phone call that you got, that you did not put on speaker, is going to become suspicious. The fact that you have to take your call on the veranda and not keep the call inside is going to become suspicious. Why? Because you did not honor trust. You see? So don't expect to get back what you lost. Your virginity is gone. Your innocence is gone. And don't try to tell the person how soon they should recover from that breach of trust. Oh gosh, we deal with this already. I don't want to hear it anymore. Move on. No, you can't operate so. Sharon say if there's no trust, it's time to go. About it. Lyndon, you here in the AC? How do you deal with a person who have trust issues and cannot get past by that? Sheila, thank you for that question. How do you deal with trust issues and you can't get past it? I can't answer that fully on the line here now because of the number of things that we have to discuss. So on the screen, you're going to see my number running across the screen. If people want to meet privately so that we could talk specifically about the issue, because we can't really deal with people's personal matter as we would like to be able to give answers, because somebody may say, I have trust issues. But where did your trust issue come from? Whose issue is it? Is it yours? Is it the next person? You'll need to give some certain information, etc. Lyndon, let me know if you're here in the air condition. If it is making too much noise, I'll take it off. Or whether it's a joke you're trying to pull on me. Kevin said, even if you have been forgiven, there'll always be skepticism. That is right. And that is why, Kevin, when people say you must learn to forgive and forget, the brain cannot forget trauma. The brain stores and files away trauma. If you broke your leg 5 years ago and you're in excruciating pain, 20 years later, you will remember that. You can't remember. I wonder if I did break my foot. I wonder. You're never going to say that. It's not going to happen. So if you have been hurt by somebody because of trust issues, they will not forget it, but they can still move on. They can forgive. That is, of course. But it's a process that must take place. It's not an overnight thing. So thank you for that, Kevin. Let me just see some of the things. Joy, good evening. Rock and come in, Joy. How do you, right, okay. All right, Sharon, you cannot undo trust. Communication and trust fights for number one spot in relationship trouble. True. Marva, good evening. Marva Celestine. Josiane said some people take themselves too seriously, hence the reason no humor in the relationship. Yeah, you're not going to just play and enjoy yourself a little bit. Oh, heavens, man. Sheila said Americans don't like humor. Sheila, you're on your own with that. You are on your own with that one. Too many Americans on this show for me to say I go in and support you with that. Oh, Lyndon is saying that the live is freezing. Yes, Kevin said he's in the unconscious mind. All right. I don't know why the service providers choose tonight for all of these issues. All right. So are you all back on now? Like we have to try and pay for the whole bill, because when we pay part of the bill, like give us half the discussion. Let me just give it a minute there for the live to come back on, people. All right, I think we're back up now. Okay. All right. Nola says that they're hearing me clearly in Trinidad. Wonderful. Good. So we talk about trust issues. So let's go to the next. I wanted to always give you a solution to each one of them. So if I forget, please remind me. So these are some of the things I want you to keep in mind when it comes to the issue of trust. Solution: openly discuss past experiences. This is necessary because there are some people will not get closure until you have been able to ventilate the discussion. Do not trivialize the need for your partner to get closure by having some answered questions. Who was it? Might it be a question? You know. When was it? How long has this been going on? You understand? No, it might not be a situation of infidelity. It might, well, romantic infidelity, but you know you could have financial infidelity. Did you know that? Yes. When the family doing without because they think you don't have, and you are pumping money into a next family or into somebody else's hand, and they find out that you're buying things and buying things for other people and they have been doing without, it's financial infidelity. And when they find that out, there are some questions you need to answer. Why is it that I had to now go and take out money to be able to pay this when you were supposed to pay it under the pretext that you had no money? You understand me? Isn't that a reasonable question to be asked? And isn't that a reasonable answer? We can't expect the person to just close that case and call it a cold case and move on. No, it's not fair to that person. Help them to bring some solution or resolution and closure to their issues. So set aside time for that early discussion to take place. 2, practice consistent and transparent communication to reassure each other and to build reliability. Right. Be frank. Don't lie on top of a lie. Because trust is already broken with the first lie. If they find a second lie, they are less likely to think that you will come clean with the truth. So the Bible says, he that swears to his own hurt and will not repent. You understand? That's an honorable person. What does swear to your own hurt mean? I will say the truth, even though I will get in trouble for it. And I'm not going to change my mind about that. You follow me? No, it takes a big person, a huge person, to say exactly what is on their mind and say the truth, knowing the consequences of it. Yeah. So do that. What else? Engage in activities that foster trust. Right? And I'm talking about being upfront. You might have the private discussion, the private phone call, and you might feel that it is necessary to have had the private phone call. But at least surrender the information. Hey, you know, this was Sybil from the office. She was calling to find out so. Why? Because trust was broken in the past. And you are trying to show and bring forth fruits meet for repentance. You are trying to show them that you have changed and you are leveling with them. Yes. That's what we do. If you can't do such things, then don't breach trust. Yeah. But there's a consequence for it. So address trust issues with empathy and patience for a secure and committed relationship. Now, at the same time, let me ask the person who might have a little issue with the trust and don't want to move on for years. You need to learn to move on because you don't want the person having to pay for the error from time immemorial to thine kingdom come. You need to learn how to be able to deal with it enough and back off that you don't have to be raising it every time you get vexed with your partner. And I'm hoping that I'm not talking to anybody out there who's doing that. Every time you get vexed, you bring up the issue about what they did with the money and the man that she went with and the woman he went with and so on. No, it does nothing for the relationship. I'm going to leave you. Pack up and go. All of those threats do not help the relationship. How are we going, people? How are we going? How are we going? Making sense? Let me put up some hearts. Let me see. Let me make sure that, because you know, at the way things going, I doesn't know whether still live or whether they take me off the live because of all of this again. The internet breaking up. Oh my goodness. Okay. All right, yes. Well, I seen the hearts there now. Some men do not like, what Sharon saying here? Some men do not like to be questioned. Got some no. Well, okay. Um, Men and women. Well, I know that men have a little problem with being interrogated. So I will take that chance. That some men don't like to be questioned. But we also have some women who like to be questioned either. They started to say, well, I ain't no little child. All right. Denisha Foy. What if the partner doesn't want to be open? That's a whole long story. Don't trivialize the issue, says Kevin. All who come late, all who can come in, all who can come in, all are telling all need to get here on time. This is the last one for the year. We start off the first week in next year. All right. Some men are very difficult, Sheila, and don't want to communicate. Yes, it goes both ways. All right, nice. Narcissistic attitude. Heather said that it's not easy for men, especially to tell the truth, even if it will cost something. Well, it takes a type of person. It really, because it's not, because why tell the truth when a little lie could get you out of it, so, a songwriter said. But really, you don't want to lie and then the person find out the truth and then you have to apologize a second time. At which one of them, if they don't ever find out, how would you be able to assure the person that this time I'm telling the truth? You see? So that's why that trust issue is so delicate. All right, so let's go now to your third one. The third one, look it up there. Intimacy. Intimacy. Well, this is the poor sex life. This is where the sex is not running properly. This is where the sex can lead to significant problems in romantic relationships, because if people not connecting sexually, that has its own issues. So people emotionally become distant and they disconnect. And when partners don't share affection, touching, kissing, caressing, and all of that, not talking about sex yet, you're just talking about showing affection. A lot of people are starved for affection in their relationships because it is not flowing in the relationship. So more or less, the relationship turns into a tenancy, a landlord and tenant. You're living in a family of brothers and sisters. Why? Because some people get so busy in their relationship, running after their jobs and their career and having to do this and having to do that. They don't have no time for intimacy and sex. They don't have no time for love making. They come home, they're tired, only to get up the next morning to go all over again. So that lack of intimacy distance people together. And what this psychologist is saying, the long-term relationship is going to be affected. So the sense of closeness and so on is gone. And soon the couple begin to feel less desirable for each other and valued. Is it that they don't have any feelings for sex? Is it that they get so tired that they don't want sex? They still are attracted and they might still be attracted, but they are now attracted to somebody else who might have time for them, who will be able to spend the kind of time and give them the kind of personal one-on-one time. So the psychologist says solutions. Prioritize spending quality time together. Make it a date, make it on your calendar that we are going to spend this Saturday together. We are going out, we are doing things romantic this weekend. It's a holiday coming up, we're going to do this. Christmas is coming up and you have your boxing holiday, you have New Year's holiday. Do something, go somewhere, make things happen and make it part of your calendar. Just as you put down an appointment to meet with somebody, put down on your appointment to meet with your spouse. Communicate openly about your feelings of wanting intimacy. One of the things that with couples that they don't want to admit, I feel sexy and I would like us to spend some sexual time together. You don't find that. We pretend as though we don't want it. We pretend as though we don't need it. We pretend as though we don't think it. No, at least we should be in the relationship long enough, especially in married couples, to be able to say openly that I would like to have some cookies. Is it baked yet? Is it ready? You all hear me? So that time for intimacy must be part of it and create that safe space, which means send the children and him somewhere else, for heaven's sake, or make sure your room door, the lock on it working. Make sure that it is fairly soundproof so that the person's mind, both people's mind, could be completely in the present of what's taking place and not having to be looking out as though they are burglars. Yeah. So, and utilize that time even before you get into bedroom, because sex and lovemaking starts long before the bedroom. It starts the day before, it starts the morning, as to how you talk to the person, how you connect with the person, starts to talk about how emotionally available you are for the person to share their own thoughts and their own experience of the day with you. The touch and the embrace that you give, reassuring embrace, etc. The holding of hands, all of that. It is a whole kaleidoscope of events that take place long before the act of sex takes place. And some of you will agree with me, some of the sex act is too rushed and too decided, too mundane, too boring. And some people don't know how to use the equipment that they get. Somebody tell me to add that in on the program tonight. They have equipment and they don't know how to use the tools and the equipment they get. That is a whole new topic by itself. All right, so let me see what's going on here with the discussions online now. It's not easy for me to tell you. Okay. Edwin Tulsi, you're late, you're late. Go in the quadrangle. Sharon said, if there's no shared affection, somebody got to go. Sharon, everything, everybody had to go so. Everybody had to go so in your life. But I agree with you, because the reason why this particular person is in the relationship is because there is an affection that takes place there that is not with anybody else. So, Edwin Tulsi say he doesn't think that that is love. I'm not too sure what he's referring to, because remember now, you all have a delay. So I would have said something and you would get it after. So you need to refer to it. Denisha said, can lack of intimacy be drastically affected when in long distance relationship? Yes. 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 Now they say absence make the heart grows fonder. Absence make the heart grow fonder. That has its limit, because every so often a separation creates a nice wanting kind of atmosphere. The problem with that is people, the more you know somebody, is the more you love the person. You tend not to love as strong if you don't know the person. Part of knowing the person is being in the presence of the person and being with the person. If there is a long distance relationship, and the long distance relationship is not only the relationship long distance, but the relationship is a long way off, that also could cause the person to no longer feel affectionate towards that person again. So when people leave the Caribbean to go to the United States to work for 2 years to make all of this money to come back to build a house, they recognize that by the time they reach back after 2 years, they end up with a house, but they have lost the home. It makes no sense. So we need to make decisions as to what are the sacrifices we are prepared to make and what is important. If the home is important, my mother always used to say, if I suck salt, all my children suck salt with me. She's not going and live in no fancy place, no fancy country, and send back no money, no barrel for us. All of us suck salt together. That's what she said. And I kind of believe in that because she was there for us all the way. I hope Denisha got that. Prudence, Robert. What about when the partner only shows affection to you when he alone is in the mood? Well, that's unfortunate, Prudence, and that is a reality. And that means the person is more concerned about the sexual encounter and not the relationship itself. And the question is, why is that so? If we know why, because sometimes the relationship breaks down and what is left is just the sexual act in the relationship, but the relationship itself is wanting. Good evening and good night on morning when an issue arises with the children. Is that right? How do you deal with that? How do you deal with that? I think it would require prudence, some talking with the person without an accusation. Tell them what you notice. And your choice of words, prudence, that, hey, listen, I enjoy making love to you, and I appreciate that so much. I have noticed that whenever we making love, it's because you are in the mood, and it is I don't get the impression. Remember now, you're not pointing fingers to accuse them. You're not saying this is what you're doing. You are taking ownership of your feelings. You are taking ownership of your interpretation. I don't get the impression that the sex includes me or is concerned about how I feel about it at a point in time. I would like us to talk about it, please. And set up a time. They might not be willing to sit down at that time to do it, but at some other time they might be willing. All right. What else? Intimacy should not be by appointment. It starts from morning. That's right. And what you do, Kevin is saying intimacy should not start by appointment. It should be from the day itself, which I agree with. So because you don't know what day you're going to get it, let intimacy reign every day. So by the time you really want it and have the time for it, you don't have an issue. Because that is what Denisha, I think, was sharing, or Prudence was sharing, where it seemed as though we only become nice when we're feeling nice. But we should be nice because we are nice. You all get me? All right. No time to shy here. Serious business. All right. No need to say they want cookies. The oven should always be heated. Ay, 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 Sharon. Ay, ay, ay. Saying I love you and meaning it. That's right. And on the telephone, just say it. You don't need the person in front of you to say it. Write them. Send them a WhatsApp. I love you. You know, I'm missing you. You know, I'm thinking about you. You understand? You have to be creative, says Joy. Intimacy should be neutral or natural. I think it's natural, you mean. Good. But well, you see, I can't read all of it, eh? So I'll have to read a bit after. All right? So, all right. So let's deal with that one. We were supposed to talk. We said prioritize quality time, embrace affection, and so on. So let's go to number 4. So number 4 now. Number 4, we're dealing with the whole aspect of incompatible life goals. Incompatible life goals. Okay? The incompatible life goals are according to the psychologist, among the most important and impactful problems that we have. My life goal, you like flying, you like going all over the place, you like traveling and so on, and you want to spend your money on traveling. But my life goal is to build a business. But I can't build a business if I'm flying all over the world with you. You want to go Israel and Pakistan, and you want to go to Russia, and you want to see the war in Ukraine and so on. Yeah. But I want to build a business. I always want to, or I want to study. I get a qualification that would may take me 3 years, etc. How do we reconcile this incompatibility of life goals? I want to be promoted, but for me to get promoted and get a job, I need to leave the country. But you don't want to leave your family here because you don't know anybody in the other country. Both people have legitimate concerns. No concern is greater than the next. We've got to now sit down and work that out. And she says that partners find themselves heading in different directions and conflicting aspirations and priorities. Let me explain how a real life example. I was on a conference today, and a lady was on the table and she was sharing how her life is so busy that she and her husband, his life is also busy, but in two different directions they're going. And she said when she was coming to the conference, the plane that brought in the husband landed and was offloading, and the plane that was taking her was boarding. They kissed on the tarmac. Now, they have not seen for the last 3 weeks, and now they're kissing on the tarmac. Both of them heading in two directions. When she was on the island, he was off. Now that he's back on the island, she's off. And she says, this is how it is generally. Sometimes he comes in today and she's gone the next day. But she says, I love it. It works for us, and so on. This psychologist is saying, if the relationship goals are not compatible, it will create some issues. But she was insisting that this thing works for them. So my question to her was, do you all have children? Yeah. How do you manage that? I'm not there to be able to say what it is that going on, but this one thing I do know is that later on, while the meal was being taken, she got a call. And clearly she's on the line with her husband because you're hearing her end of the discussion. And clearly they developed a little argument. And that argument was going to continue. This is the same lady that says this relationship works fine for them. Both of them get along well and so on. And a little, she had to get up from the table to go and argue in a corner. So when she come back now, she's talking hushed tones because she didn't want me here because, you know, I was the one who was asking, how can that work? So she's telling them in hushed tones that she thinks she will leave this relationship, she can't take this no more, and so on. This is the relationship she was saying was wonderful. This psychology is saying it must show up as a problem. You all have two separate goals. And if you don't sit down, it's not saying that you can't have two separate goals, but there must be some way for your goals to be achieved and then his goals to be achieved, or vice versa. How do you do that? How do you reconcile that? Bring it to the fore that both people could feel fulfilled in their goals of achievement. But if you're just doing it and just going along your way, no. And then what about the children? What about the children? So clearly, yeah, Sheila, she lied about it. And a lot of people lie in order to keep their situation looking good so that they could continue doing what they're doing. All right, Alexandria Hospital is in the house. Joan Pierre, nice having you. Rock and come in. I suspect that you are on duty. Oh my, there goes Sharon again. Once you're incompatible, you should not be together in the first place. Sharon, you that just jettison relationships like though it is what? A cigarette lighter that is just popping out stuff just so? Was the man initiating? All right, Lyndon say most time it's the man initiating intimacy. All right. I'm not too sure there's a record to prove that, but Mike, you should be feeling nice every second. It's important to know how to use the instrument you have. If you can't use your instrument, someone got it. Like she was just sugarcoating. All right. So let's move on. Let's talk about the solutions now, right? Because we said we will talk about the solutions. Let's have an open discussion on our goals. Don't just assume that the person will respect your goals and that it will fall in place. Have a discussion on it about what your aspiration is, what your timelines are to get what you want. Could we, instead of travel every year, because you love to travel, could we travel 1 year and utilize the money for the next year to build the business so that both people can get some measure of satisfaction in their goals? So sit down and talk about it, and find a workable ground that it will work. Be willing to explore some creative methods for it to work out. You've got to be ingenious, not disingenuous. Use ingenuity to be able to come up with your best ways to make this happen. 2016 study says that there's significance in factoring one's partner's life plans when making relationship decisions. This practice holds crucial implications for preventing marital disillusion or the marriage coming to an end, as indicated by the research. So this is what it is saying. If I see about my plans and my goals only, my relationship is likely going to hit the rock. If you see about yours only, it is going to hit the rocks. We've got to find a way for you to feel that your goals are being met. And I feel that my goals are being met. I may not get all my goals, but at least I must help you to get your goals in this thing called our relationship. All right. Woo. We just on number 5 and we are already 2 minutes to 8 o'clock. But I did ask some of you all who came out early, I asked for extra time tonight. I hope you will give me that extra time. Okay? Tonight is the last night. Well, give me that now, please. Thank you very much. All right. Next one. Financial stress or money problems is one of the problems that we have. If any of these fall in your garden, let me know. And let's discuss it. Willing to accept compromise, both partners can be happy. Absolutely, that's got to be. Otherwise, if it is only one person seeking their own satisfaction, that is being narcissistic, where you're putting yourself first in every situation. Oh, 2 minutes. Oh, yeah, sorry. Two minutes to. They turn back the clock on the laptop. Sorry. All right. Financial stress. Here's what the psychologist said. She said, according to a survey in 2021, close to 50% of American couples facing financial strain acknowledge its detrimental effect on their intimacy levels. Not just the marriage, but it affects their sex. That is what they're saying. It affected their sex. Because let me tell you, and tell me if I'm wrong. Which one of you on the 30th day of a month could enjoy good climatic sex when your rent is due the 31st, the next day, and you know that you already don't have the money for the rent? Could you really enjoy sex? All answer me now. Tell me. And especially if this is the second month you have not paid rent. So this is what she's saying, that this study showed that the issue of money stress affects sex. All answer me now. All answer me. I'm looking out for all answer me. Some of all probably could handle that. But they already write you to come and repossess your car. You need your car to go to work. And they tell you they come and repossess the car. You could have sex and they say they come in the next day. Kevin say a man might, but he's doubtful about a woman. Let me tell you, even the man and all, if he knows he is up to his neck in debt, he has a problem in enjoying it. That is what makes him aggressive sometimes and hostile and irritable and etc. So yeah, but I understand what you're saying, Kevin. Sheila say yes, she could enjoy sex because the bills over here like every day. That's why they feel like that. Oh, is every day you have bills? Sharon say absolutely she would enjoy her sex. Well, okay. Anyway, she said 50% in this study said that it had detrimental effect on their sex life. 70% of married or cohabitating Americans have engaged in financial disagreements with their partners within the last year. Have you been arguing with your partner over the last year? She said 70%, that's more than half of the people in the study, have bad issues with money problems this year in this year, sir. Because remember now, she updated this month in December, this article. Financial infidelity, remember I told you about that, is a factor leading to the determination of 40% of relationships. Financial infidelity, you get your money and your money going somewhere else and your partner does not know. 40% of relationships ended because of money issues. Parents with children at home encounter notable elevated instances of relationship challenges stemming from financial problems. So that is where the fact is. So we got to recognize. So how do we now deal with that, resolve with that? Let's have some money talk. And two, solve it by letting the person who is better at managing the money manage the money. Let us not deal with whether it is gender-wise, but really deal with the competence of the person to handle money. So you may find, sir, that your wife is a better money manager than you are. Then shouldn't she be the one to manage the money? In our days of our parents and of our parents, my father used to bring the money home for my mother to manage because he knew she was a better money manager. He knew how to make money. He knew how to bring in the money, but he never used to spend the money properly, and he had no problems in handing it over to her. And I think that we can afford to be able to utilize somebody by their competency and not necessarily by their sex or by their gender. That's just my view. Why worry when you can play? Kevin? Kevin still on the one about sex, money problems giving you sex problems. Money is something important for relationships, said Angela. There's a stress relief to take your mind off of the rent. Okay, all right. So let's all agree with the lady. Fine, fine. Sex is sex, bills is bills, says Sharon. Okay. Nola says miscommunication, mistrust, money, and different life goals will affect intimacy. Oh, Nola is actually including not only money issues, communication issues, life goals, and everything affecting intimacy. Okay, makes sense though. Joan, well, the women are always ready, but the men have to get ready. I could understand the mind would not be focused. Women are always ready? Joan, you sure about that? Because a lot of men say, no, she never ready. Headache. Tired. I see Kevin Frederick agreeing with Nola. The old people say money is a man, blood running in his veins. Okay. I appreciate all of you all and the sharing that you're all giving. So let's have the talk about the money discussion. Set clear financial goals and let's sit down with a budget and be able to manage the money in the home, because I think money for a man, follow me now. This is my opinion coming in here now. For a man, money is power, authority. So we like when we walk into a store and we see something, we must be able to buy it. We feel bad if we cannot afford it because it's power. If we have something to do, we must be able to hit our pocket and just take out the money. And this is why we really don't ask as often what price it is, because power. But for women, I suspect that money means security. She wants to know she has not only in her purse, but she has somewhere as a backup for in case of emergency, something that happens to her car, something that happens to her children, something that she needs urgently. She wants to feel secure when it comes to money. That's why we need to sit down and talk to each other to see how we can meet the needs of those people. If therefore money is power to me, I could afford to use my money on a toy. I could buy something that I really don't need. But if a woman wants security, she may say that I'm not going to spend on this. I'm going to hold back on this because I would want to make sure that I have a fat in my account. I have some saving in order to be able to fall back on. Or parents taught our girls, never leave home without vex money. Have your security in your bag. Yeah. So the psychologist is saying seek financial advice, and I want to suggest that there are people who are financial advisors, they're in insurance, and they could advise us how to manage for our future finance. There are people who are in the accounting and will be able to help you. So get the advice, get the help that you need, and be supportive and empathetic to people. Different strokes for different folks. I can't function in most areas if my money isn't right. See, there you go. And that says so. I think for overly independent women, money isn't an issue because we don't rely on a partner for finances, so whatever they do is considered to be a plus. Okay, Denisha, thank you. A couple has to sit down, said Edwin, and budget the finance, then things will work better. Gotcha. All right, so we're just down to number 5. Let's see if we could hit number 6 quickly there now. Unresolved past issues. Unresolved past issues. What are unresolved past issues? Well, this one is nice. Let me tell you, there are some things that couples have in their history, in their past, that they have not resolved, and still continue to dog them for today. Because they have not sat down and squared it off. If you have not sat down and squared it off, these unresolved issues resurface over and over again. Deal with them, get the help, get the counseling that you need to be able to help you to solve some of these things. And don't hope that they just dwindle, dissolve, and go away. All you do is put it on delay by doing that. You need to have it resolved and properly ventilated and discussed. And she says, unresolved past issues can resurface and impact the present dynamic of romantic relationships because we have not dealt with it. And this unresolved issues doesn't even have to come from the relationship itself. It could come from your own childhood. It could come from previous relationships of abuse and incest and a number of things that took place. Not only with the woman, but also with the man. Because there are some men grew up in foster homes, grew up with parents or family that were not their own. Somebody took them in. There are men who grew up feeling as though they were taken advantage of. Some men grow up with a mother who the boy resembles the father and she doesn't like the father, and you might find that there are problems that go in there. There are some girls grow up in some homes, they have been involved in illicit sex, incest, rape. There are a number of things that some people go through that you have to ask yourself, are there things that we have not resolved that are beginning to show up? So if you have a woman who has been interfered with while she was a girl, she may have some sexual challenges because if you touch her in a certain way, her body responds because the body is going to have its own muscle memory of how it felt. She may smell alcohol and it may remind her of a man who tried to kiss her with alcohol inappropriately. So all of that you may have from time to time. So clearly, there are times that we need to get some help to deal with some of these things. All right. So create a safe space for you all to talk. Safe space meaning let the person talk and express how they feel about the issue. Don't try to judge them. Don't try to let them say it in a way that you want. Just let the person just offload. Just say this has been bothering me for quite a while between us, or this has been bothering me from my childhood. I haven't shared the full thing with you. This has been bothering me because this took place on the job or what have you. Let it be a safe space without judgment. One of the things that I find very curious. Sometimes a girl will go to her mother and say to the mother that this thing has happened to me by your husband, which is her stepfather, or somebody else, the uncle, etc. And many times, too often, you will hear the mother accuse the child of trying to break up the relationship between herself and her new man and not taking it seriously. So that girl is going to go up with some issues in her own relationship. Or the mother and her new man may have their own issues in the relationship. So that all of those things need sorting out. But it requires active listening once again for a person to listen clearly to what is going on and seek professional help. Okay, so let's move on. Where are we now? Past issues we on? Okay, let's deal with this one here, this nice one here. Jealousy and insecurity. Jealousy. This jealousy really is, they said, are two of the most significant of the top 10 in relationships. Jealousy and insecurity. That breeds feelings of mistrust and doubt. And when one or both partners struggle with jealousy, it can lead to possessiveness, control, dictatorial kind of attitude. Don't go here. Don't give up those friends. Don't go by your parents. I don't want you talking to this person. You can't go to that office function. Why? Because they figure that you're going to have somebody in the office who will come to that office function, etc. You can't do anything. So they must have some issue with that. So a number of things take place when jealousy and causing the other person to feel unworthy of love, and the person now has to get permission from you to be loved, etc. No, that could never be healthy. Ever, 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 ever be healthy. If you don't, and it comes back to trust, you got to trust the person you're with. You can't be their police the rest of their life. You have to keep your eye on them. If you really don't trust the person, then you have a serious issue. So everybody who talks to your spouse, you have a problem with. That can't be. Let me see what people saying. Heather said, even if you make your own money, things happen in life. Oh, she's still on the first one. That can change your whole life in a New York second. Okay. What is a New York second? All right. For instance, COVID-19 touched the pocket of even those who thought they were financially secure. That's right. All right. Over possessiveness, she said. Yeah. That controlling spirit. So how do we resolve that? Well, again, come back to communication. Open communication about feelings and reassuring. Allow the jealous person to say that they feel jealous. But when you're talking about being jealous, explain why you are jealous. Sometimes the person is fearful of losing the person to somebody else. They might have lost a spouse before because somebody stole the spouse from them. So listen to the person. Don't be judgmental about them being jealous. listen to what they're saying, but the jealous person should also listen to the person that says, I feel controlled, I feel claustrophobic, I feel as though I can't go out places, I feel I can't go out with the girls, I feel I can't go out with the boys, and so on. Listen, listen, listen. Because that insecurity might come about from something, and again, you might need help with it. All right? So, again, a safe space to build confidence and trust in the discussion and address all of those things as frankly as possible. Number 8, is it? All right. You see, I put it up there for all those who come late. We're down to number 8. Lack of quality time. It's 10 we're going to. Lack of quality time. So they said, well, this is again is one of the top ones. Quality time is when we put a time side, specific time to spend with our loved one. And it must be uninterrupted. And it must be special. It must be time that you all engage, set aside for that occasion. And many times, you know, we get ourselves in situations that where we become distracted. And that distraction end up getting in the way of the relationship and the family. So quality time requires us to put aside that time for it. So prioritize it, engage in it, engage in activities that promote closeness and intimacy, make it fun. And those of you who like to travel, travel. And those who don't have money to travel outside of the country, travel to the countryside. Instead of traveling out of the country, travel to the countryside. Spend the day, go on the beach, make a pilau. Oh, some people don't know what pilau is. All right. Make something nice to eat and just go and spend the time, quality time. And then we have number 9. Number 9 is where we talk about emotional neglect. Emotional neglect is this. Where we are not emotionally available for our spouse. The needs that they have, we can't meet them. Because again, we're not willing to listen to the issues that the person is going through. If you can't feel connected to somebody, it is hurtful if you're in a relationship. It is painful if you're in a relationship and you don't feel emotionally connected to the person that you're with. It's as though you all are not in a relationship. You all are distant. You are going through a routine. That should not be. So therefore, you need to be able to solve that. One of the ways to solve it is open communication on the feelings and on the issues itself. Be proactive as listening, because what helps connect you to somebody is because you could feel for them. You could feel their situation, and you can't feel for somebody that you have not listened to. They must feel felt. They must feel as though they've been heard. That makes them feel. They must feel empathy, that you understand what they're going through. They understand the pressure that they're trying to explain to you, both the man and the woman. So you must do that. And then, of course, we come to this final one, where we call power struggles. Another one of the top problems. Power struggle is when people fight for turf and control, want to be in charge. The woman wants to run the man's life. The man wants to tell the woman everything that she must do. That creates this power struggle. And that power struggle creates its own problems. And those problems cause us to compromise on the romance in the relationship. Nobody feels romantically inclined to somebody who tries to control them. God never planned for us to control human beings. He asked us to dominate the earth and the things that are crops and animals, etc. He never asked us to dominate another human being. So whenever we try that, we always end up in an unfair and tense-filled relationship. Just allow people to live. Just allow people to be able to be who they are. Let them feel comfortable being who they are. They will change to suit you on their own will and volition. Don't force people to do it. So acknowledge a person in the relationship and how they feel. Practice open communication once more. Communication, communication, communication. Empathize with them so that you can be able to be in it. And don't whenever somebody says they want something, they want to do something, see as much as possible how you could make that happen. Be as a good entrepreneur and a good businessman. When the businessman says, and a client comes in and said, I would like to have this. A good businessman who does not have it will try to get it. Because if therefore you didn't have this size, let's say you're working in a boutique or clothing store, but you didn't have this size, can you find out a way to be able to access this size because you have all these customers who are asking for this size? Or are you going to say, I don't have it, and if I don't have it, I ain't doing it? So in the relationship, find out what makes this other person happy and empower them with that so that they could be as happy as possible. My dear people, you all have been very nice. I know I went late tonight, almost half an hour late. See the relationship as a partnership, says Denisha? Absolutely. You can have a legitimate reason sometimes of being jealous. However, like Mike said, sit with the person and explain why you feel insecure. That's right. Thank you, Heather. Quality time in intimacy. Where did Kevin go? Can create bonds that cannot be broken easily. This is when you can really communicate openly about anything and everything, providing you have a compatible partner, not a controller. Yes, Kevin, because if you have a partner that is not listening to you and they are working with somebody in their office who is willing to listen, you could get off for not eating. That's a trash too. Yep. Let me see. I will have to catch up on all of this discussion after the program. Yep. So, thank you all very much. As we said, this is the final installment for Mike at Night for the year 2023. First Thursday, hopefully, in the new year, either the first or the second Thursday, 1 out of the two. But the new year, we're going to have the Mike at Night, and we're going to be coming on hard, and we're going to be coming with a number of topics that would help to build you. You all have been lovely people. Show me the hearts again there. Let me see the hearts on them. Lovely. Thank you all so much. And I hope that tonight's lesson of these 10 things that we struggle with, you are going to try to work on making yours not be suffering from the problems that we raised tonight, but really utilizing the solution if you had it as a problem. Bye, good night. Good evening, you all. God bless you all.